Well, the clock is ticking as we get closer to the end of the final day of PLMA's 2012 Private Label Trade Show, and I'm Jodi Daley.
And I'm Brian Sharoff.
Well, we've been delighted to bring you direct from the floor coverage the whole time we've been here. Now, I think what has impressed me the most about the show, it's been really businesslike throughout the whole event. You walk down the aisles and the exhibitors and the buyers are really serious about what they're doing. Now, I don't mean that they're somber or anything, but this is their business and they're here to find products, meet suppliers, see what the competitors are doing. It's been amazing.
Well, you're absolutely right, Jodi. The buyer-seller relationship in private label is very special. And it's different from the relations that national brand companies have. Philosophically, private label is a partnership between the supplier and the retailer, producing products that carry the retailer's name.
Retail relations are crucial to the process by which store brands are created. Well, Terry Lee and Tom Ewing have been on both sides of the equation. Terry served as Vice President of Corporate Brands at Safeway and Dollar General, and Tom has been Director in charge of store brands at T. Marzetti for more than 15 years. I spoke with both of them earlier today before the show floor opened. Gentlemen, good to see you, Tom.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you, Terry.
Morning.
So first off, how well do you think manufacturers and retailers are getting along?
I think overall they get along quite well. I think they work well to try to build good relationships because it's important in this industry.
Has to be, don't you think?
I think both parties get along well. I think it's probably more formal today than maybe in the past because getting together outside of the business environment is probably not as common today as it used to be. And so you're more formal in your communications with the retailers than perhaps early in my career when there was a little more activity outside the formal atmosphere.
Do you miss that?
Miss it quite a bit
Yeah.
because as you get a chance to interact informally, you learn more about each other. And in today's structure, because it's a go-go structure and everyone's got more to do than time to do it, you don't have the time to teach the other person or inform the other person of what you're trying to get accomplished. And so I think that has deteriorated a little bit from the learning that both parties have to get from each other to be able to support each other.
What would you say is the most important difference between retailers and their suppliers?
The retailers are very much driven by performance. So
Right.
when you look at the relationship, it's driven by how well the manufacturer is meeting the needs of the retailer, how well they are anticipating the needs, how well they are executing. So I think it's very much driven by how well the supplier is delivering against the expectation. Maybe not as much on a personal perspective, but very much on a business performance perspective.
Good point, really good point.
I see a difference. Our company does both branded and private brand products, and I see a vast difference between that relationship. Because as a private brand supplier, the buyer chooses you to make their product. Therefore, the buyer owns that relationship and is responsible for how you perform as a supplier. On the branded side, if the branded product doesn't perform, they choose another brand. On the private brand side, if the product doesn't perform or there's a problem with supply, that's the buyer's fault. So, because they chose you. So it becomes a much more personal relationship between a buyer and their supplier on the private brand side than it does on the branded side.
Now, in the beginning of this, I said that both of you have been on both sides of this coin. So what do you think both sides need to do to make the relationships better?
Well, I think the business is getting much, much complex than it was years ago. The requirements of the retailers, as they become more sophisticated, they're looking at innovative products. They've taken more ownership of product quality. They are demanding more in terms of flexibility. So the requirements now are so much different, and the individuals who are servicing and helping to support the companies from a manufacturer standpoint play a much bigger and different role than they did 10 years ago.
Right.
So I think they're looking certainly for a much higher level of delivery, individuals who are much, much more skilled in managing much more complex businesses, and those who are able now to help them take it to the next level.
Perfect. Tom, if you could wrap it up for us.
Well, I think events just as this trade show are very important because it allows the retailer and the manufacturers to talk one-on-one, equal, and understand a little bit more about their trading partner. And the more we understand about the other person in our relationship, the better that relationship gets.
Thank you. Two great perspectives on an issue that I'm sure we'll be going through over and over again in the next years. Thank you so much, Terry.
Great to see
you.
Good to see you again. Well, when all is said and done, the show is still about products, and we asked our own Michael Sansolo to take a last look around the halls and find a few of the potential big winners for 2013. What shoes do you wear? Because you are constantly up and down those aisles.
Well, you know, it's lucky to be a man at a time like this, because honestly, we have pretty comfortable shoes. But I got to tell you, it's one of the most fun jobs you can have. I walk up and down those aisles. There are so many great foods to try, so many terrific products to see. It's just a blast to do this every year.
What is our big winners for 2013?
You know, and this was a tough call to figure out the winner for the show, because there was so much good stuff down there. A couple things I want to highlight. First of all, got to give a lot of kudos to PLMA. I think the whole effort with this WISE initiative is just amazing. One of the real challenges for this industry is our main customer is a woman. And really, we've been too male-dominated for too long. That's why it's good we have you here.
And Peggy Davies, who is one of the co-founders of WISE.
Absolutely. So having WISE sort of give some focus to all that really makes a lot of sense. But as I thought about products, the words that I kept seeing all throughout the floor is a lot of growing sensitivity about environmental issues. So a couple things along those lines. Okay. This came from Tetra Pak, and it's the typical Tetra Pak packaging, the kind of box that can take the place of cans and bottles. I think why this is a winner product going forward is we have a lot of concerns in this industry about logistics. We always have to take costs out of the supply chain. These boxes are lighter, therefore you can cube them easier on a truck, and the truck is lighter itself. In addition, this specific box has a lot of recycled materials in it. So we're taking product and we're giving it a second life. And I think that's what we're going to see. The industry needs to cut down on waste. Okay. And that really brings me to my big winner. And Jodi, I showed this on I think it was this morning's episode. This was a company out of Israel, and what they do, if you'll recall, is they get scrap products from other textile makers and they turn them into these cloths. And if you feel them, I mean, they're really nice cloth. It really does work. And this one has such beautiful colors.
And they're washable. And,
absolutely.
And these are all from recycled materials.
Well, it's all reused. It would have been thrown out otherwise because it was scraps. And I think the message it sends is we've got to reduce waste, and we've got to create markets for products to have a second life. So what a great way of doing it. No consumer is going to say, oh, I don't want this. It came out of a remnant. No, it just works. So I think the big winner this year, environmental discussion and more emphasis on women.
Well, thank you so much for bringing these. And since you always bring fun things, I wanted to give you a little gift, Michael.
Oh, thank you so
Hope you don't mind recycling.
Really, again.
I'm regifting.
Your generosity slays me.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Well, this morning, more than 300 retailers and manufacturers were on hand at PLMA's Retail Trends Breakfast. Mark Hubbard of Planet Retail was the speaker, and Tim Simmons caught up with him after the breakfast.
Hi, Mark. In your presentation, you talked about the rise of anytime, anywhere retailing. What did you mean by that?
We live in an on-demand 24/7 society. So consumers are used to getting movies and videos on demand. Why not shopping on demand? With a physical bricks and mortar retailer, normally the stores are shut at certain hours of the day, but they're losing revenue opportunities. So with 24/7 shopping linking physical stores to online stores, there's always revenue opportunities for the retailer.
What do you think the impact of anytime, anywhere retailing will be on suppliers?
Well, for a supplier, it means potentially more sales, different types of sales, working with different retailers they may have never worked with before.
But there is a problem with impulse shopping, isn't there?
That can be the big challenge with online shopping. If you have an immediate consumption need, online shopping doesn't service that need. And certainly if you buy online, if you go to the store to collect that, how do you capture that impulse occasion? It can be 1% of a retailer's sales. If they're buying online and physically picking up in store, you need to kind of capture that impulse opportunity as well.
Mark, you also predicted that private label is going to grow in the years ahead, even as the economy improves. What's driving that growth?
Well, private label offers value for the consumer, which is first and paramount, but it also means that retailers are going to be starting to manage that as a brand because of its size and significance. For example, Kroger now has a tie-in with the TLC TV show Cake Boss, and you can buy Carlos's cakes from certain Kroger stores. We've also seen that in Europe already with linking to celebrities and providing a unique value proposition to the retailer by producing a unique private label offering.
Your company, Planet Retail, operates extensively in Europe. Do you see any trends coming from Europe that could apply to the United States?
Absolutely. We live in a global society now, and what happens in one part of the world is going to affect somewhere else. A great example is some of these celebrity tie-ins, for example, the Cake Boss Kroger product. We've seen that in the UK already. We see many, many niche products launching in the UK very successfully, and now retailers are taking those, what were unique brands to themselves, and retailing that in other retailers.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much, Tim. Well, Brian, we're almost at the end of our coverage, and I'm telling you, it was a good show, a good theme, and what I really liked the most was the little idea of the boxer, you know, ready to take on all comers. I think that was neat.
Well, apropos of our theme, our producer, Sonia Petroselli, who's been doing a great job with the show for the past 3 years, well, she has a little gift to symbolize our theme.
Awesome.
And it turns out that Michael Sansolo is a whiz at making it work. So come, let's go take a look.
Does this mean the fix is in?
Yeah, well, here we are.
Come on
All right.
down.
All right, now,
All right, Michael.
I just want to make sure you guys know the rules of this boxing match, all right?
All
So
right.
it's got to be clean.
Okay.
Clean.
No dirt.
No low blows.
No low blows.
Well, I don't
no
think
high
that's an issue.
blows. At the count of 3, round 1.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Round 1.
One more.
All right, one more. Ready?
Wait a minute, we both lose.
All right, do it again.
One more time. Wait, stop. I haven't started.
Oh, really? Yeah, God.
All right.
Now
come
you
on.
haven't started.
2 out of 3. All right. I got to say, well, for Brian and for Michael
The
and
champ.
for the loser over here, so long, and we will see you soon for another edition of PLMA Live, and I still want to rematch.
Let's go. We got a boxing match.
I think the fix is in. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Just how?